Okay, good morning, everybody. It is July 16th, 2025, and I want to talk a little bit about the Epstein Files. The Epstein Files, by and large, is something I've not been talking about on this channel, and I would prefer not to talk about it again. It's really not the kind of thing that I'm here to talk about, but it has been a big issue, and I wanted to drop in what I think is the answer to the question, will we ever get the Epstein Files? And the answer is no. Jeffrey Epstein was initially arrested and prosecuted by Donald Trump's Department of Justice in 2019. The no files, or I should say only the bare minimum of files was released back then. The Biden administration then had 4 years after that to release the files if they wanted to. They chose not to. Trump is now extremely publicly not only saying he will not release the files, but that anybody who wants to release the files is not a supporter of his and you will be excommunicado from the MAGA movement. He's even gone so far now as to say that the files were made up by Obama, Hillary, and Comey, which is funny because in the past he's been very clear that the Epstein files should be released. Donald Trump does have a personal history with Jeff Epstein. They partied together. They did things together. Does that mean Trump had anything to do with Epstein's abuse of children? The answer is probably not. I don't know the exact answer to that, obviously. I shouldn't say no one does. Very few people do. But Epstein was a socialite. He met with lots and lots of people in lots of circumstances. Merely having attended a social event or been at a party with them or known him is not proof of guilt by any stretch of the imagination. It may be an indicator that it is worth looking into somebody for that, but it is nowhere near proof of guilt. Terrible criminals have all kinds of associations with people who have absolutely nothing to do with their crimes. But the point is, we've now had both Democrat and Republican administrations who have had every opportunity in the world to release the files, and they have refused. In fact, yesterday, the Democrats, who up until very recently have been utterly mum on the Epstein thing, they wanted nothing to do with it. They did not talk about it. They did not want the files released. They just wanted it to go away. They have seized on the political opportunity and yesterday tried to force an amendment through the House that would require the release, and the Republicans in the House blocked it. Nancy Mace, in an absolutely epic piece of Nancy Mace-ish Mace-ness, voted against the release of the Epstein file and then promptly tweeted that child rapists should get the death penalty. So I guess she was trying to, it's sort of the, I'm going to light a match here in the forest and then immediately run out and declare how opposed I am to arson, that kind of thing. God, you have to love politics. The absolute hubris of politicians. She got a hilarious community note I do on Twitter. I advise you check it out. It's quite funny. Elon Musk has accused Donald Trump of being in the Epstein files. Bill Clinton, for instance, flew on Epstein's jet on multiple occasions shortly after Jeff Epstein was arrested. Organizations like Google and Wikipedia actually scrubbed the pictures and stuff of the Clintons with Epstein and things like that. You can still find them, but they used to be brought up all the time by people who were like, hey, Epstein's a pedo before he got arrested. And then once he got arrested, they all disappeared. Now, I certainly have my own opinions on what I think has happened and what is not, but they are just that. They are opinions. I do not have any real basis in fact for them. And so at this point, I do not want to discuss my own opinions as to what may have or not have happened involving Jeffrey Epstein, his death, and his victims. I will point out also that during the, because again, it's too much speculation, and while I certainly don't mind giving my opinion on things, I like those opinions to be rooted in a certain level of fact, and I just don't have that here. I will also point out one other thing. During the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, she was never offered a plea deal. At no time was there an offer, and this was under the Biden DOJ, to say, give us the names, name names, and give us the evidence leading to other people, and we will reduce your sentence or reduce your charges or something like that. There was no plea deal, nor was she ever questioned about who else was involved other than the direct victims. In other words, there was no investigation, no discussion with her, at least not publicly, of something that would lead to an additional investigation. So the Biden DOJ was very clear they were not interested in that. Trump, like I said, has made it very clear that he is no longer interested, and you are a bad MAGA member if you are interested in it now. Remember, literally a few months ago in February, Pam Bondi said she had the Epstein files on her desk and would be releasing them shortly. And then the White House did the big announcement. They had Jack Sobiek and a bunch of other podcasters and MAGA influencers, and they gave them phase 1, which clearly implies a phase 2, of the Epstein files, and they had their notebooks, and they were all literally dancing outside the White House, showing them off, and how that night was going to be the most awesome night in social media history as they reviewed the Epstein files. And it turned out that everything in phase 1 was stuff that had already been public record before. So I will say the Trump White House did a lot to build this up, and is now saying, what the heck's wrong with you for being interested in this after, having been the one to build it up. I will say this, at least the Democrats were consistent that they were utterly and completely disinterested in it up until about 5 minutes ago. They did not want anybody talking about it. Now that they see a political opportunity, they do. So the point of all this is, no, we are not getting the Epstein files. They are not coming out. The Democrats had years, they won't do it. Trump had years, he won't do it. The Republicans in the House won't do it. You're already seeing Ben Shapiro fell right in line. He's been all about, release the Epstein files. As soon as Trump said, don't release it, yep, we don't need them anymore. A bunch of other Twitter influencers, MAGA influencers on Twitter have said the same thing. Which, guys, look, Trump knows what he's doing. There's just nothing there. And these are the ones who were declaring that the Epstein files would be released soon and it's going to bring down all the big Democrats and all that kind of stuff. So basically, they are not coming out. For those of you who think that this is proof positive, that there must be a lot of damning information in them about members of both parties, which is not an unreasonable take on this, I will point out that if there is so much damning information on high-profile members of both parties, then my guess is if that does exist or did exist, then that has been destroyed. It's been shredded, it's been burned, it's been permanently redacted in a way that's unrecoverable. So if they are released in the future, it will not be there. That's assuming it was there in the first place, which I do not know if it was or was not. So I'm sorry, I feel like I've rambled a little bit on this one. I will try to be back with some better videos soon, and I hope everyone is having a good day. Bye-bye.